Leaders tend to be really, really good at talking about wins, things we did well, our strengths, but we're not so great at talking about our mistakes or anything that might suggest any sort of failure or weakness. Because we think it'll make us lose credibility or lose respect amongst our peers and especially amongst people who are junior to us. But there's new research that shows that we are pretty wrong about that. When leaders share openly about mistakes they've made in the past or lessons they've learned, they actually gain credibility and respect from their employees. It also demonstrates several traits that researchers have found to be core tenets of great leaders and excellent leadership. It shows authenticity when someone's willing to be open and honest about mistakes they've made or lessons they've learned. It also fosters a growth mindset in the team. There's lots of research on this idea of a growth mindset, but essentially it's this idea that when there's a setback, when there's an obstacle, there is always a way forward and up. You also position yourself as a leader and a human who's very open to change and growth and open to feedback. I was talking with a leader recently who told me about a time that he had used a phrase with a female colleague that he found out years later had offended her. He was telling me about how she approached him and told him and how embarrassed he felt, but how much he learned from that. And for me, he gained way more credibility. And my respect for him in that moment grew a ton because what I was hearing was a leader who was open to learning, open to getting better, and open, most importantly, to hearing his colleagues. So here's my challenge for anybody who's in a leadership position, especially at the start of the year when you're setting goals and objectives and talking about your wins. Don't forget to talk about your oopsies. Try talking about at least one or two lessons you learned, things you would have done differently, things you are doing differently, and encourage your people managers and colleagues to do the same and see how that starts to change the culture and the trust that exists across the team. The research says it has a big impact.